Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kemi, and I'm here to talk about Beyond the Gates Season 2, Episode 47. Now, before we begin, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications so you'll know whenever I post. All right, so we start the episode off with Leslie at the country club, and she's trying to write her speech for the clinic, which is happening the next day. The clinic opening is happening the next day. Okay. Um, so one of the waiters comes and he sees the trash, so he's picking it up to throw it away, and she tells him to stop, and she's going on and on about um needing to child. I don't even know. She was talking about how practice makes perfect or something like that, and she's talking about um how she's given so much money to this club, and it still isn't enough for the people at the club to respect her, and this speech is going to whatever. Vanessa is at the other table listening to this or whatever, so the guy was just like, all right, well, the waiter's just like, okay, whatever, and he walks away. So Vanessa comes up and tells her, "Oh, you think you're giving a speech? No, you're not." So they're going back and forth, and Leslie is making jokes about stealing Joey from her, and Vanessa is just like, "Okay, well, if you think you can, go ahead and do it. But just know if you keep pushing him, he gonna push back basically." And so she says something, and then Deanna pops up, and she's just like, I believe her if I were you or whatever. So they introduce, she introduces Vanessa introduces Deanna to Leslie, and she says, "Oh, she's the one who's doing the clinic," and she goes, Vanessa goes, not Vanessa, but Leslie goes to mention Joey's name, but um, Vanessa cuts her off, and she takes Deanna out into the hallway or into the wherever this part of the club is, and she tells her, stay away from her and all this other stuff. So they reminisce about Doug and Doug, Deanna is reminiscing about Doug and how she thought, the country club would be different without him there. And they talk about, all the times they've been there. Um, Vanessa tries to cheer her up and tells her that she's proud of her for coming home. Um, she also tries to get Deanna to move on, and Deanna wants to know if she's moved on or whatever. We see Joey. He is at his club. He called Vanessa, no, not Vanessa. He called Marcel down, and he tells him that he's not doing his job, and how he wasn't there when the guy accosted Vanessa. And Marcel is just like, "Do you want me to go do something?" And he was just like, "No, I already took care of it, but you need to get your girl in line, and she needs to stop flirting with me, and he needs to get Leslie in check, basically." They discuss Joey sleeping with Vanessa and the role that he played in Doug's unaliving. And Marcel is warning him, like, you getting close. When it hits the fan, it's gonna hit the fan. And Joey is just like, there's nothing to hit the fan because there's no way that anybody will know. So we see Kat, and she is at the Grants. She comes to visit them, and she wants to ask them for a favor. She asks if she can move in with them. They agree. They come up with some rules to what they will and will not do. So one of the things is Kat isn't going to all grand and fawn over her. They're going to do book clubs. They're going to, she's not going to like be like, "Oh my gosh," just like, she's not going to show her concern because that's not what Anita needs or whatever. So they want to know when she wants to move in, and she's just like today, or tomorrow. And they were just like, okay, great. So Kat hears a construction noise and she jumps and they tell her what it is. So she wants to go over there and stop it. And Vernon is just like, oh, it's best to leave, leave it alone. And Kat is just like, how is Leslie always running circles around us? Like, this ain't what's up. Like, we are the almighty Duprees. Why did she keep running circles around us? Legit, fair question. So this, she talks to Vernon about when he was a senator, and if things didn't go right, what he would do. And this lights a fire on his behind. So he decides to go and do something about it. He leaves, and it's Kat and Anita, and Kat's looking out the window, and she turns around to complain about Leslie and the construction, but she sees that Anita is like low-key sleep, so she goes to put the blanket on her, and then they talk, and Kat's just being there for her grand. So we see Randy and Lynette. Randy approaches Lynette at OG, and he's like, you ain't been answering your phone. I've been blowing you up. Da 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 da. She tells him that oh, the bill came through and the charges were dropped, and they're flirting with each other. He wants to know when she's gonna leave, and she's just like, I'm not leaving. I miss Hayley, and we used to share everything, and we can share her man, basically. I was just like, girl, what? So Randy is just like, yeah, nah, that ain't gonna happen. And she was just like, oh, because that's gonna mess up the long con that y'all have. And he was just like, ain't no con. It's just the way that they got together. It was cheating, and if he cheats again, Hayley is worried about her losing him, just like how she got him, basically. So they're flirting, and she feeds him something, and he's licking her fingers, and Mona comes in. She walks up to them, and she slaps what's his name? She smacks Randy upside his head, and she's going in on him and Lynette. And I didn't get this because it was just like, girl, Mona, oh, y'all just went to church once. Like, why you acting like this your man? Like, I hate this for my girl. So she calls them uncouth, basically, and she calls Lynette a stripper, and she was just like, she thought better of Randy. Randy is just like, man, nah, I'm not who you thought I was. Mona leaves. Randy feels bad because, he's thinking about changing his life around. And she's just like, Lynette is just like, oh, you're serious. And he was just like, yeah, I'm serious. And she was just like, well, before you decide to change your life, let's get another one, last one too. So they leave to go to, I don't know, his place or her place, whatever. So they leave. We see, now let's see what's next. We see Eva. She's at the coffee house, sorry, with Derek, and they're discussing the clinic again, which is cutting the ribbon tomorrow. They're discussing all the stuff that entails with that or whatever. Eva, Derek makes a remark about Leslie, and Eva tells a story of how Leslie used to skip her doctor's appointments just so that she could take Eva or whatever. And, she gives this sob story about it or whatever. And it's just like, okay, whatever. Leslie shows up, and she's complaining about Vanessa or whatever. And she snaps at Derek, and Derek is just like, yeah, I don't have to deal with this, and I quit. He gets up to leave. Eva stops him. She stops him from quitting, and she says whatever about both of them, and they agree they agree to work things out or whatever. So Derek leaves to go put some signs up or whatever, put the permits up at the clinic. And Leslie tells Eva, if you just quit your job, then I wouldn't have to worry about Derek quitting or whatever. And Eva was just like, I'm not quitting my job with my dad. And you need to stop. You need to stop being how you are and berating people. Um, no, she tells her you need to change and stop bothering people. And Leslie says, well, everything is falling into place. And Eva is just like, until it doesn't, and how long is it before karma catches up to you? And it's just like, exactly, that's the issue. Leslie is getting everything that she wants, and it's just like she should not be getting everything that she wants, but she is. But I digress. So Leslie meets Marcel at OG, and they're flirting with each other. And Leslie thought that he was done with her or whatever, because I think the last time they were together was before Valentine's, and she ain't thought about him since because he ain't show up for her for Valentine's, and it was just like, but you weren't a Valentine. But I digress. So he compliments her on, congratulates her on the opening of the clinic and all this other stuff. And they want each other back or whatever. So yeah, whatever. So we see Eva. She runs into Mona at the coffee shop because I guess she forgot something. So she went back. She runs into Mona and she tells her, the clinic is opening or whatever. She invites her to the clinic opening, but Mona passes because she ain't trying to be around Leslie. But she congratulates Eva. And Eva's just like, she says it doesn't make up for what she did, but she hopes putting good into the world makes up for the good that she took out or whatever. And Mona tells her she's walking a walk and she's proud of her, and the whole town is watching or whatever, and she should be proud of herself. And I was just like, girl, whatever. Mona should, again, have her foot firmly planted on both of their necks, because yeah, you jeopardize like my word don't mean nothing now, because you jeopardize that by being who you are and doing what you did. So no, but whatever. Let's see. So we see we see Bill and Hayley. They came back from St. Bart's. They were only there for a day because Bill had to come back for some court case that he had to do or whatever. So she does a court case. They start, they having sexy time. Hayley is happy to be back and she feels so much better and all this other stuff. And now she wants to have a baby now that everything is checked out. And it's just like, wait, so are you not still poisoning this man? Is that not the goal anymore? You want to have his baby for real, for real? Like, I'm confused with I'm confused with this story, because I thought you were still trying to take this man out. But now it seems like you're not. But I also understand, because if we want to keep her around, she is gonna have to be pregnant, or like she gonna have to become pregnant with his kid or have his kid or lie about having his kid so that she can stay around. Because once the con is revealed, she already don't have friends in the town as is. Once this con is revealed, she's really gonna have nobody. So yeah, so I guess that's where we're going. So Vernon comes over and he interrupts them or whatever. He tells Bill that he needs his help and he needs to um, he needs to work his magic and stop the construction on the shouse. And so that was that. But yeah, that was the episode. Again, it wasn't a lot this episode. Eh, it was an episode. Wasn't a lot happening. We moved some stuff around. The fact that we're getting this clinic opening so fast, and Samantha, I'm not even gonna go into that, but whatever. But yeah, that was the episode. Get down in the comments. Tell me what you guys thought of this episode. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications so you'll know whenever I post. And I will see you guys in the next one.